This video is made for adult collectors because, well, in Age of Extinction, he says, "I kill you," I think about 4 times. The Bumblebee movie's production was a shamble. The movie was going to be a prequel for the Bay films, so there's a lot of Bay merchandise that was made, like hot rods and barricades, from the film's original story. And then The Last Knight did so poorly at the box office, they just straight up rebooted the franchise with Bumblebee and quickly made the Cybertron scene and all that stuff. That's why Shockwave and Soundwave share parts with Optimus Prime. So the Bumblebee toy line is just odd, and it contains toys like this, a leader class evasion mode Optimus Prime? I'm confused. Either way, it's nice to have another quote-unquote Age of Extinction leader on my shelf. It looks neat. Before we go any further, huge thanks to Bai for helping me out with this one. Bai is a Japanese proxy buying service that you would have heard me talk about many times before, and that's where I found this. I found this guy, I think, for $40 or $30 or something like that. You see, like, in box and stuff, which was great, along with the rest of these, which you can find a whole bunch of cool stuff on there. Like, my parents are looking for kitchen knives, and we're actually looking on Bai to buy them because there's so many on there. So you can find whatever you want. They're great. I usually use them to find good deals on things that are either extremely rare or stuff that's only available in Japan. That's what I use it for, because you always have to watch out for shipping, and I always say budget for shipping. However, this time, the cheaper shipping options have reopened, which means if you're willing to wait the 100 days, because it's going to go on a boat, you can ship it for like so much cheaper. So definitely go check them out. Links in the description down below. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. And I should also briefly mention, I have Patreon that I've opened up. You can go check that out if you want. There's an extra video that comes out every Saturday. So yeah, it's there if you want. Now, toy. There are some modifications to the mold, like the wheels and the shoulder pads, the gas tanks at the back, but they're very subtle. I'm really happy with those subtle changes though. Like the wheel arches now, like they have a fold down thing to mess with the lower legs to make it look more dynamic, and how the wheels fold up and actually peg in. Studio Series, you absolute maniac. There's a lot of chrome, but it's placed in some nice areas. However, it's only on the torso and the gas tanks, but you know, it's only on the torso. And I would have liked it if it was a little bit more spread out. It feels very condensed, and I'm not a huge fan when chrome is just in one spot. If you're gonna put chrome on a figure, sprinkle it around to the areas that actually need it. That would be nice. The back of Prime is incredibly clean. They even gave us those like little panel things that he's got on his back, which is super nice. And they molded in a trailer hitch, which is also neat. The legs are very blue still. It's weird because the feet are painted blue. They're gray underneath, and I would have much preferred if they just kept the gray. Because if it's all blue, it looks kind of bootleggy to me. Like, it looks kind of like something you'd find from Dollarama. I never liked it on the original Evasion Mode toy, and I don't like it here. But I am a huge fan of battle mask gimmicks, and this has one. Similar to pretty much any official movie Prime with the whole flip the face around thing. You open the head up, rotate the face, and put it down to have the non-battle mask face, which I feel lacks definition. But the masked face is great, and that's what I display it with. He also has like teeth on the unmasked version. I don't get that. It was a weird choice. His gun is interesting. Emphasis on interesting. It's modeled after his normal smokestack cannon that he used to have, but there are some subtle changes to it to make it flat so it can fold up. You can peg it into the back as well once it's folded up, but mine doesn't like to stay in place. Pain. The biggest issue I have with this toy though is its loose hip ratchets, because with one little flick, and yeah, that happens. It's so loose that even standing up straight, it starts to lean forward, and it's very frustrating because I want to display my toys standing on a shelf because that's how I do it. I just have them standing there. And he's going to be leaning forward slightly, and it's going to bug me. Okay, before I actually get into his articulation real quick, I just wanted to quickly mention that the Rise of the Beast mainline toys got announced today, like the kid stuff, and it all looks fantastic, and I think I'm going to be buying pretty much all of it. Like, isn't that not ridiculous, but funny? I love it. I love it. Where's the other thing? You can bet your ass my sister and I are going to be getting these and doing another shootout. because that was funny. Anyways, Leader Class Prime, that is somehow evasion mode. I still don't understand why this exists, but hey, it's cool to see. All those hips, man. Those we'll talk about those. Head is on the double ball joint, well, ball joint slash hinge thing, so you can look down quite well actually, which is very nice. And a ball joint at the neck. You got shoulders, so the shoulder pads themselves are on a separate joint from the shoulder, which is nice. It's for the transformation, but it is very, very nice. So you can literally just move them out of the way to do like whatever you want with the shoulders. But they do rotate. This one's very stiff, and I'm holding it here because sometimes it'll untab this. Like there it goes, which is annoying. This one's fine. I don't have to hold on to anything. It just rotates. Shoulder pads can move out. I kind of wish they had a hinge here on the inside, just for, you know, a little bit of getting out of the way more, and it would have helped with the transformation, but they don't. You have a bicep swivel. You have a ratcheted single jointed elbow that bends all the way up. But due to the way it's sculpted, it looks weird here. That's always just been a problem with the evasion mode. Now he has wrist swivels you can actually access because they took the panel and folded it away. Love it. He also has opening hands. Also love that. It makes it a bit difficult though for his gun. It's not fully transformed here, but you put the gun in the hand and it just likes to fall out a lot because of the opening hands. It's a bit strange. He has a waist joint. Now the hips. Let's talk about the hips. Oh, let's talk about the hips. They suck. They do. So these wheels can move out of the way to accommodate outward movement, and it's ratcheted, as you can hear. But it's not exactly the best ratchet in the world. But the forward and back is just like no effort for him to go into forward fold. That looks really funny. My friend, Weebot, go check his channel out, by the way. He used to have this mold, and he said that his in and out hips were like really loose. Not his forward and back, but my forward and back are just so bad. But he can kick forward that far. He can go back that far. There is a really tight thigh swivel on both of them. Now, the thigh swivel, you rotate it this way, it's fine. But if you rotate it this way, it unpegs the wheel because of the way that this is sculpted. And then you gotta like peg it back in. So it's a bit annoying. The knee, very stiff ratchet, bends at 90 degrees. And like I said, because the wheels are now pegged in, they don't come with the leg. But the smokestack or gas tanks stay where they are, and then you have to manually rotate that. So it's a little frustrating. These little bits of detail I like. These are supposed to be on the back of Prime's legs, and they actually fill out his legs. That is something. What are you doing? That is something that a lot of the movie Prime toys don't do. They have skinny legs, but because of the way this guy transforms, they fixed it, and I love that. Now, he does have forward and back at the ankle and a pivot. Now, normally on Evasion Prime, he would pivot outwards a lot more than he would inwards. And you want it to go inwards more, right? If I move this out of the way, it does go out quite far. But because they've cut into the foot here, it pivots in more than it pivots out. So they've remedied that, and I much appreciate that. I'm glad they fixed it, because on Evasion mode, it was really annoying when his ankle would only go in that far, but out all the way. It's also been out of focus. So yeah, they put a cut there so you can get his ankles to go at least that far, which is probably as much as you need. And that's great. I love it. It is very poseable, but them hips. Those hips are dookie.
Transformation is a bit meh. Like, the Evasion transformation has always been fiddly to begin with, and the extra bits make it a little bit worse. The arms specifically, to me, are annoying, but the legs are very simple and familiar. They do have to be done in a specific order of operations, though, so if you get anything out of line, you kind of have to go backwards and then forwards again. It's a bit frustrating at first, but once you get the hang of it, the legs are very satisfying. Truck mode is great, though. The paint really shines here. The silver outline of the windshields and the grille, the stripes, the new fold-out mirrors, the shiny-ass bumper, it all looks fantastic. It sits at a weird angle, though. Like, the truck feels like it's collapsing in the middle a tiny bit on itself. Like, structurally, it's fine, but it just looks that way. I think
there's something that's just a tiny bit off and it bugs me. The windshields still don't line up perfectly like the original toy, but it doesn't look as bad as the original toy because of the way it's painted. It looks a little nicer, but yeah, it still doesn't line up. I like the new details on the top of the truck and the gap fillers they've added to the back to like fill in that hole that was there. And I like how the trailer hitch is gray and not blue. It can also tow MP10's trailer, so that's neat. I don't have MP10's trailer, but it can tow it if you do have it. It looks nice next to Studio Series toys because this type of truck is quite large, so it scales pretty all right. But when you put it next to something like Rollout Command Optimus, he looks like a pipsqueak, you feckin' moron. He looks like a Voyager. I like it. And getting this for 40 bucks Canadian was great. I have my issues, and most of them are fixable-ish, but in general, it's fun. It exists, and I like it, and if you want one, I wouldn't pay more than like actual liter price for it, brand new. And like I said, you can find it on Buy for ridiculously cheap. I see it there all the time. And thanks again to Buy for sponsoring this video. And that's been my look at Bumblebee Movie Leader Class Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.